Johnny Dueri and Jorge del Castillo carry this same burden for the pastors of Bolivia. They started the church in La Paz, the administrative capital of Bolivia, in 1976. They were introduced to Sovereign Grace Ministries in 1993 and then joined as a member church in 2001. Shortly thereafter, both men attended the U.S. Pastors College, which profoundly affected their ministry and provided the theological framework they needed.
Systematic biblical theology will show you a whole frame to put everything into. And for us, the Pastors College did that. So we're really excited about the Pastors College in Juarez. We feel that it is an alternative for all the pastors that don't speak English, that are not proficient enough in English, and that can be trained in Spanish. Also at a lower price, expense, investment for the church, because our churches are not as capable of a large investment as the U.S. churches are. So we're excited about sending someone to the Pastors College in Juarez as soon as it opens. We'll try and do that, and in the future maybe we can start one here, but we're not ready for that yet. It would be a few years ahead.
Even without an established Pastors College in Bolivia, Johnny and Jorge are already investing in pastors located in more remote areas of the country. A man named Pepe Carrasco is a key contact for them. Many years ago, Pepe was part of the church in La Paz, but he felt called to evangelize the various indigenous tribes of Bolivia. Pepe and his family eventually settled in the rural southern region of Bolivia, in a town called Entre Rios. Using Entre Rios as a base, Pepe has established churches in 8 nearby villages. He's also built a facility next to his home as a training center for these local pastors. Thanks to their long-standing friendship with Pepe, Johnny and Jorge often visit Entre Rios to train these pastors and their wives.
Sería la necesidad de que haya más personas que den su tiempo enseñándonos la palabra del Señor, tanto aquí en Entre Ríos y también en las iglesias en el campo mismo, que haya talleres abiertos un día, 2 días, para enseñar y capacitar más a los hermanos. También sé que necesitamos que haya un colegio de pastores o algo parecido, donde tengamos más capacitación. Nosotros como pastores vemos la necesidad que todavía nos falta, el trato a nuestro carácter. Entonces necesitamos eso, ¿no? Que haya un apoyo más dado aquí, que se pueda haber un lugar donde se capaciten los pastores.
There's 2 types of needs for pastors in Bolivia. One would be for the rural pastors who need to be trained at a very low level, at their level. Most of them do not have a higher education, would not have finished high school. So we need to get at their level and do things in a simpler way. The other level would be for pastors in the city that have a higher level of education and could handle some of the higher academical level of a pastor's college. Why do we need to train them? Because it is very, very difficult for a pastor to lead his people not being aware of the gospel and all of how to live the gospel. We feel like even in our lives, after more than 20 years of ministry, our ministry has changed in many ways after the Pastor's College. So we would like to take this gospel to the ends of the earth, at least to the ends of Bolivia.
This past spring, Johnny and Jorge did get to at least one end of Bolivia. After spending a few days in Entre Rios, they traveled with Pepe to visit 3 tribes living near the southern border of Bolivia. Along the way, they learned the history of Pepe's outreach to these villages and met the pastors there.
Hace 16 años llegamos a este pueblo predicando el Evangelio por primera vez. Encontramos gente que ya había escuchado acerca de Jesús, pero también encontramos un grupo que nunca antes había escuchado hablar de Jesús. La reacción de la gente fue de oponerse al Evangelio, ya que unos días después que predicamos quemaron las Biblias que regalamos. Y fue triste para nosotros, pero al mismo tiempo fue de aliento porque 13 personas entregaron su vida a Cristo y de ahí para adelante sigue el Evangelio en esta población. Actualmente acá en Potrerillos ya hay 4 familias completas que se entregaron a Cristo y que se reúnen. Estamos para construir también el local donde ellos se van a reunir y vemos que la gente está mucho más abierto que antes.
There's a pastoral culture in the U.S. that we don't have here. To be a pastor in Bolivia is to go against the current. There's no legal government backup for a pastor. It is against the known official religion of the country. Pastors feel really alone, no backup from the government. Instead, they have to fight against the official religion and against the Andean pagan religion. And they have to bring people from their sin, drunkenness, idolatry, and adultery, from that into the gospel, into God's truth. So it is a very difficult uphill fight, and they are doing it by themselves. Most of them do not have a team to work. Most of the churches, and especially in the rural areas, are churches with just one pastor. Most of them do not support fully the pastor. They're very poor people, and their tithings even are not enough. They're small churches, sometimes persecuted, sometimes slandered by the other religions. So it is difficult for a pastor, and if you don't have the gospel to really pull you to, like the engine of your spiritual ministry, then you're really lost. It is really bad when you have to lead your people and do it by yourself, and you don't have enough knowledge, and you're filled with doubts. That this is where this man was. His name is Thomas, and he's the leader of the Tapiete people. He knows enough to become a Christian. He was a Christian, but then without the backup of missionaries coming and training him and explaining the gospel, he was filled with doubts, even about God's existence and about whether you can be truly a believer, a true Christian, or is it just an appearance, an external appearance that we try to show people, but we're not really living the truth of God in our lives. So that's where he was at. So he was very needy for backup, you know. And that's what he felt with especially Pepe. They want to build their own church. They want help, our help to build the church there, because they've been meeting on the outside. They didn't have a place to meet. So now they're willing to build a church and being established as a Christian community there. And from there, I believe we can reach other communities as well with the gospel.
El visitar a los Tapietes ha sido de mucha bendición. Pudimos compartir con ellos y ha sido tan significativo, tan sentido para nosotros ver su necesidad espiritual. La palabra con la que nos vamos es: por favor, vengan y ayúdennos, vengan y háblennos de la Biblia, enséñennos, no nos dejen solos. Es lo que cala profundamente en mi corazón. Yo siento un amor muy grande hacia la gente que vive en lugares muy alejados, gente que no tiene la oportunidad de oír la palabra de Dios por otro medio, sino que alguien venga hasta sus comunidades a hablarles de Cristo. Ese es el llamado que he tenido de Dios y esa es la pasión que tengo por las almas. Dios ama a todas las personas.
Training pastors in the poorest nation in South America is challenging enough, but there are dark clouds on the political horizon that may add to these challenges in Bolivia. The native tribes of Bolivia practice variations of a pagan witchcraft-based religion, broadly referred to as Andean, for the Andes mountain chain that runs through Bolivia. Many of these tribes descended from the ancient Inca culture and still worship a multitude of deities. The current president, Evo Morales, is the first indigenous president of Bolivia. At his inauguration last year, he signaled his strong support for the Andean religion by participating in a sacrifice to an earth deity at an ancient ruin. Since then, Morales and his Socialist Party have signaled strong opposition to Christianity.
The government is aiming towards communism, which would mean atheism. They've already wanted to pass a law that would take out religion from schools and universities, even private, and we have stopped that. The people have really, even the Catholic people have been against that and have been very vocal and marching in the streets against that. So that stopped, at least for now, but on this, they're reforming the Constitution. So they're preparing to declare what they call estado laico, which means without any Bible, any reference to the Bible or any religion, but they will push their Andean religion still. So it's a contradiction of terms. So we need to prepare the church for persecution and also for this trend towards communism and atheism.
No matter what the future holds, Johnny and Jorge want to be good stewards of all the training they received in the Pastor's College.
Y mientras estábamos allá, había un pensamiento, por lo menos en mi corazón, y yo estoy seguro que en el corazón de Johnny, necesito, o sea, que Dios me conceda vida para poder dar aquello que Dios nos había dado con tanta abundancia. Hay gente que está muy necesitada y nosotros tenemos mucho como para poder compartir y para poder dar, y no quisiéramos guardar eso. Hemos recibido mucho y queremos dar a muchas personas aquello que Dios nos ha dado.